Okay, so I have just a bunch of little random things to talk about. One thing is it's so trippy is when I go on TikTok and I see people talking about what we talked about in 2020. It's like a time warp or something. Then when I even see people talking about stuff that I was talking about when I very first started recording, it's so weird now to hear people talking about it. So many there's so many people talking about like it's everything that I've been talking about. There's just more and more and more people talking about it all the time. And oh, nerdy white guy, he's on vacation, but I don't even know if he works. I mean, he's always on. He's constantly like, you run across his videos every few seconds. And I always notice now, like, when they're doing it, and he's doing them all right now. It's like 1 minute, 1 minute. It just keeps being him. He's on vacation with his family. Well, it's his girlfriend's ex's family. So, I don't know if they're all close, I guess. But so he's doing all of these recordings, and he's in beef, of course. But some of the stuff that I'm hearing people talk about, it's like he was talking about, it's so weird how all these people just keep talking about that they're autistic now. And apparently, because if you're on TikTok, you have like an algorithm, a For You page. You get things sent to you that I guess are interesting to you. It's so funny because I'm like, whatever I'm on right now too, I'm super, super shadow banned. Like nobody's seen my videos. It's so crazy because you can tell, like when you're getting, hundreds and thousands going, and then all of a sudden it just stops and it's just like nothing. You can tell it's artificial. And then plus when you hear other content creators, so many are losing their accounts. They're just getting taken down right and left. The people I follow. But so some of these people, I'm not sure. It seems like like the spiritual TikTok, which I don't go on that. Like last year, or when I had my other TikTok, I don't even know when that was. Maybe it was 6 months before this one. So the other TikTok, I was a lot more on the spiritual stuff. Now I'm more of the truth speaker stuff. So I'm trying to get people to wake up. But on the spiritual one, it just seems like that there's just all of these people, because I hear people responding to them, but all of these people who just say, I swear it's like they become spiritual and 5 minutes later they're the expert and they're telling everybody. And I don't know, he was talking about like there's all these gang stalking, and it wasn't even just him. I heard someone else talking about it, and then another video talking about it. It was like, so I guess apparently lots of the people who become spiritual experts, they're also being gang stalked because of something. I don't even know. I've heard people now explaining what gang stalking is, and just all sorts of stuff. It's just like, it's kind of like just bickering. Like, it's just this constant bickering, constant division. I couldn't believe it yesterday when they did the Roe v. Wade. Oh my God. And I don't know what's going on unless I see it on there. I'm not paying attention to the news or something. I'm just, mostly I just have on the meditation music, or mostly I probably put on water. Just the water running, either waterfalls or streams or rivers. So, there's something in my eye. So I don't hear or know a lot of stuff unless I go on TikTok about what's happening. So I didn't even know that had happened until all of a sudden everybody's arguing and fighting about it. And it may have been that abrupt. I'm not sure. It definitely seemed abrupt to me. But oh my gosh, dang. And the women who are all about it, they are, oh my God, they are up at arms They act like that you just cut off their arms or something. And it's like, and they're arguing about their rights. And I know that has to be part of their awakening. It's what they have to go to. It's what they have to face. I think when they are facing, for some, about screaming and crying and stomping and losing their goddamn minds, thinking someone's taking their rights, they're going to be forced with having to see what was really going on, what was really happening. Because, I mean, it seems so mental. I did a video just showing, because then I went and looked at the news, like today's news or what's in the news or whatever on YouTube, you go across the whole thing. It was all of it. And so I said, well, isn't it interesting how, the government makes sure that we're always arguing about this stuff. When they don't want us to be paying attention to something, they just pull their little trick, a trick out of the hat and, just throw it out there and everybody starts fighting over it. It's like, why can't you see their game? Why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep playing? Why can't you just see what they're doing to you? And not only that, in one of it, when I was going across, I was like showing the different ones and saying some little snappy thing as I was going across. When I got to this one, and it was all these women out there just losing their minds. I guess I've seen a lot of footage now. People just out there losing their minds. They're, out there screaming and having a fit over this. And, I was like, well, they've created a lot of anger, it's holding these people back from ascension, but that's what keeps happening. And for a soul, it keeps giving you an opportunity to see, but you get so caught up in the 3D that you're sitting here fighting and arguing about rights that don't exist. This is all a game. They don't have a say over us. It's the only way they've ever had any say over us is because we allowed it. We thought we had to. We thought that we had to do what they said. We didn't realize, hey, you guys are just like us here, only you're trying to boss me around, so fuck off. I don't need to live by your rules. For God's sakes. If you... I'm just so mind blown. Like, these people act like that this stuff. Do you think there was laws saying it was okay a long time ago when people were doing it? Like, you think that this is something new? Like, the whole problem is it's become corporate run. It's become something where they are taking these little corpses, they're mushing them up, putting them in our food, they're testing on them, they're putting them into our medicine, they're feeding us dead babies. That's disgusting. And these people who want to keep fighting, I want to do it, like losing their goddamn minds. Someone please let me give up my baby. It's like, what the hell are you just shorting out? Can you stop? Can you sit back and you think for a minute? Could you maybe like meditate on it? Like consider some other things? Like, oh my God. Again, I will say, this is going to take a while. It's shocking. Sometimes I feel like, oh, look at, we're chugging on forward. People are waking up. It's so exciting. Then they just throw a little stone in the pool and boom, you're right back to what the hell? How do you just get played like this over and over and over again? They've got your emotions. They've got a hold of them. They're just spinning you around, throwing you a little stone here, throwing you a little stone there. And you just play along, play the part. Run, jump in, fight, scream, have a fit, and these people are all holding themselves back. It just is nonstop. One good thing too. So the neighbor yesterday was weird. Like, I was sitting outside for a long time. Oh, and it did give me some sort of a little bit of color. I'm going to go out there again today. Like, fuck, I'm getting poisoned anyways. I might as well it did not feel like the regular old-fashioned sun that I used to lay out under. I used to, when I had a pool in my backyard, and I would lay out every day. Well, I'm just talking about a certain time that I just remember laying out a lot. And you know, laying out there, and it's kind of like when you're just laying there and listening to music and focusing on it, it's kind of like you morph into this energy with the sun. It's like you become kind of like a part of it. You just feel like you are in it. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, it would make, like, you'd be laying there and your skin would get kind of moist, and it would kind of I think it kind of, like, in a natural order, that the sun promotes the oils to come out on your skin to kind of protect it. But it would always be like this natural thing. You're out there laying for a minute, and then pretty soon, like, everything you're laying on is just like wet. Your towel gets wet, especially if you're laying in one of those chairs with little rubber things, you know, and you start like sliding around, you start having dripping down you, and you just get wet. Well, yesterday laying out there, it never happened. Never got wet. Never made any part of my, and this is why I was thinking about it. I was like trying to think, like, well, so how did it work? Once it's just sweating. I mean, this thing will make you sweat. It's so hot, but it doesn't make you sweat. Like, I wasn't sweating. I never got wet. I never started dripping anywhere. And I was not only that, it felt like kind of like little shocks, like shocking constantly all over my body. And so I just kept laying there thinking, okay, so what is this doing? And I'm just thinking about, like, what is this thing? What's it doing? And I'm, you know, trying to see, like, does it even give you a suntan? Like, what's happening with this thing? And noticing it is orange and yellow, but it can't get over my trees. And this is so weird too, because I've had so many people argue. And when they start arguing on my TikTok and they start trying to explain to me how science works and stuff like that, and I always come to, do you believe we're on a globe? And it's always, yes, well, of course. I'm a sane person. I'm an intelligent person. Of course I do. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's the problem. We don't need to talk anymore. So the thing that with the trees, because I don't even know, I would guess my trees maybe 200, 250 or something like that. And I would say they're probably, I don't know, 60 feet or something. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how fast a tree grows. Like, is it an inch a year or something? I'm not sure. It seems like we were taught that, but Jesus Christ, they've lied about everything. I saw something the other day. It was really, really cool too. Somebody was doing a little post thing, and it was about the Avatar was a documentary, in that that was planet Earth in the beginning, when we were all just natural beings, and they came in, and the tree that they cut down was at the center of where they, you know, the toroidal field that it goes down like an apple. The energy just circles through to hold all of this energy in here. So he was saying, in the place, in the center of it all was the tree of life, and he was showing all of those giant trees cut down, and he was showing all sorts of stuff. But you know, I was just like, oh, that's so interesting, as he was explaining stuff about the tree of life. So I found it really interesting, because I know that stuff is true. Oh, and I've seen so many more people too sharing stuff about what happened between the 1800s and now. Like, what happened? How was there such a big jump? Like, what happened to all the people? Why were there thousands and thousands and thousands of orphans? Where were the people? Why were they having to take these kids and sell them to people? They had little markets just sitting out, like just little kids sitting out there. You could come up and buy a kid for a nickel. And then what do you think the kids had to do? They were little slaves. They had to clean the house. They had to take care of things. Sometimes take care of people's sexual needs. I mean, the disrespect of other people's being, of living beings disrespecting other living beings because they can. See? That's what I'm always talking about. You don't do something just because you can. The opportunity arises to show you who you are. When you make the choice to do those things, the things that we would consider to be against somebody else, then you're making a choice that is, you're given an opportunity, and it's like, that is your opportunity to see yourself. The reason why you make a choice like that, the reason you do the things you do, what brings it out in you? How do you become that? Why do you think it's okay to discount another living being's energy, another living being's soul, another living being's path? You know, people just stomp all over people if they can. And it's weird. Like, you really, I wish I could explain this stuff. I see better. I know I say that all the time, but it is like, it's just this weird, like, why somebody thinks, like, we're all alive. We're all alive. Like, nobody's more alive than somebody else. So how do you think you're better than somebody else? I mean, a fucking fly is alive. You're not better than that. No matter what you think, no matter how you get yourself all built up to yourself, we're all on equal ground. We're all energy. We're all alive. We just go into different experiences and different realities to learn about ourselves, to experience. Sometimes just to pass time, I think, because we're talking about eternity. We're talking about eternal beings living eternal lives. You know, what are you going to do? You create worlds to go into. You create realities to exist in and to learn and experience and to work on your own lucid dreaming powers. What control do you have over your reality? Ooh, I saw a guy talking too. He was responding to a girl. She was doing one of those. This is another one. There's just all these people who they do something and suddenly they're the expert. And she was doing a video to explain, 60 seconds and I'll have you astral projecting, like one of those kinds of things, like all these people like, I'm the expert, I can tell you what to do and stuff. And so he was saying, you shouldn't just be going out there just astral projecting. If you don't have good control of your consciousness, you're going to meet your own demons. You're going to meet your own fears when you go out there, because you are creating the world that you are going into. And that is what everything is. It's all a creation that comes from inside of us. There is nothing outside of us. That's an illusion that there's anything outside of us. So, anyways, the sun thing, that was weird. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say about the sun thing? Because it did give me a tan, but it did feel weird on my skin, and it wasn't making me sweat. So there was something weird, but it didn't have the halo. There was no halo. And, through the winter, when I started talking about the fake sun, it was always silver disc, like you could see it. Even in winter, and they'd have way more clouds. Like, they're going to town because every time we have any clear sky, they just come in. I can't believe how many planes. Yesterday, I saw something so fucking creepy, too. I keep seeing weird, creepy shit. Because there's this one line, like if I went straight down the middle of my trees in my yard, if I just lay there on my deck and I look straight up, it's right in between the trees. Like, the trees surround my yard. And then there's like a hole in the middle where my house is and my yard and stuff. And so I can look straight up. And so looking straight up. So if the sun was actually millions of miles up, like they tell us, it would be way, way up there. There shouldn't be anything that could block it, right? It's way up there. How could anything block it? No matter where I was, I should be able to look straight up and see it, unless it's to the side. But still, if it's way, way out there, I should still be able to look up and see it. If you think about it, if you think about what they tell us, how they explain things to us, and this is where you always have to start questioning things, questioning your senses. Like, okay, well, does that make sense? Because so the sun, which is probably going to come up in a bit, but if you could see, like right over here, like all the way back right there. Okay, so if on my property, that would be kind of like if I did it like a clock, that would be like 4 o'clock, I would say. It would come up, and then it will go over to like 6 o'clock. And then it will start, so it will kind of like go across like this. So the mountain's like this, it will come up, and then it will go across. And then, so I have all my trees, and they're tall, but they're not like, it's not like a ancient forest or something. They're just big trees. So then it will go, so all of my trees go around it. But so the sun will go out across there, then it will come across, go across there, then it will come back and go, it will go across, all the way across my whole yard, but I can't see it except for right, there's like one little place, like there's a giant tree here, and there's a little space in between. So that is my space time of having sun on my porch. And I know I talked about this last year too, where it was like, well, I get like an hour of sun on my porch. And then I was like, all of a sudden it went to 10 minutes. I've got 10 minutes. That's when I started seeing the spray on the trees, and started noticing something was up with the sun, because it was already still doing this weird rotation that I kept, the whole time I kept, even when I was sitting out there and my daughter was here, I'd be like, don't you think this is weird? Like, why is the sun not go over us? And then I think she said something like what these same globe people say, well, you know, when the rotation, but okay. But even if it's doing all of this rotation, if it's 1,000,000 miles, it would be way up there. We should be able to see it no matter what. Like, it doesn't make sense in my mind. And so when it circles back around, like it'll go all the way around my yard, and it will end up back over here like at 2 o'clock. So it starts at 4 o'clock, and then it goes all the way around the clock to get to 2 o'clock. So the space between is a very small space if it just went straight over the top, but it goes way, way out and around. And, the globe people are trying to get me to understand about the solstice and how the sun moves and all of this stuff. And I can't see it because my trees block it. But I keep saying, well, like, how is my trees block something that's 1,000,000 miles up in the sky? And, well, it's the angle you're sitting. Well, still, the sun should be up higher. It's down too low. If my trees are blocking it, it doesn't make sense. I just, maybe I'm just not seeing things right. Maybe I just don't get it, but it doesn't make sense to me. And to me, it's just another thing to show that something isn't right, that things don't add up. And so, it does this long roundabout way to get back to almost where it was to begin with. It's like it's rising and going down so close, but it has this long route that it does all day long. And when it gets over to the part where I would say like noon on the clock, it will go down. It will be like way down. It will go around, and it will go down like this. Then it will get right here, like around 2 o'clock. Then it will go back up. No, but around 12 o'clock on the clock. And then it will come down, and then it will go back up. And then at 2 o'clock is where I won't be able to see it anymore. So it just is weird. It doesn't make any sense. And I think that one of the reasons I can see that or say that is just because I do have trees. It's like a sundial to me. It shows me. But another thing too, so when I had very first started noticing something was weird with the sun, and I started seeing it was this disc. And especially, I could see it out, even though it's really hard to look at, but you can see it's a color difference. The color's different, how it feels is different, everything is different. Just like how I'm saying, this one looks like the sun, but it doesn't feel like the sun when it touches you. Although it gives some sort of color, it's not helping the plants. Like my plants, even the ones out in my raised garden, are becoming stringy, stretching up, looking for sun, and they are aiming, in this other direction. So they're stretching out, trying to find the sun. Well, when the sun is over them, why isn't it stretching towards that? Why isn't it stretching towards the sun? Like, things like that don't make any sense to me. Even my houseplants are suffering so much. I can't believe it. I mean, one that is supposed to be so hardy. I was just at my mom's. She has this same plant, and hers is like 20 foot tall. I can't get mine to be over a foot. It is struggling so hard. And yesterday I noticed all of its leaves were falling off. And then I have this other one that I've had for a long time. And it was doing really good, and it was growing down, and all of a sudden it's just become stagnant. It's just, all of the plants, you can just tell that they look shrivelly. I've seen other people talking about their outdoor plants all shriveling up, their fruit trees, everything like that is all shriveling up and going away and dying. And people are desperately trying to figure it out. People's gardens, everything. So there's something strange. It does not seem like the natural sun to me. But then when you start realizing that this is all a hologram, then it's like, well, did we ever have a natural sun? Like, that's where I get so weirded out. Like, did I used to just think the sun was there and it was always this weird Truman Show sun that they bring out? Like, what the hell? So, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to sit there and act like I know anything. All I know is that things aren't right. Things are weird. When you pay attention, things just don't add up. Things just continue manufacturing questions, really, because we don't have answers yet. We don't know. All we can keep doing is noticing and putting more things in our evidence box. Like, okay, I need an explanation. Okay, so please, someone. And you can't trust science. I mean, the people who even call themselves scientists are bought and paid for by the people who are in control. Like, I'm not going to trust them. I'm not going to. There's nothing really that I trust anymore. Like, I think about this all the time. Like, what do I trust? Like, I'll find myself questioning the most weird, obscure things. Like, everything now, I question it. And yesterday, so I thought this was really... I don't know. I thought it was like profound or something. So I was out there, you know, laying on the porch and just hanging out because Stella just wants to be outside all the time. And I wish she'd understand that we are being poisoned, but she wants to be outside. And it's like, okay, well, if this is what I'm supposed to do, just lay out here and be poisoned and die, then so be it. So I was laying out there, and I was like talking to my guides. I'm always talking to them. Just like talking to them. I don't have to go in and meditate, you know, I just talk to them. And I know everybody can. It's just because I've just been listening to them for so long. I just heard another guy talking too, and he was trying to explain to people how to listen to their guidance. And he was talking about when he learned, he was young and he was living in Oakland, and he was black, so he was, you know, in gang territory, in a danger zone. For especially Oakland for his age. And, you know, Oakland has been very dangerous for black community for a long time. It is, but that's what the controllers do. They pretend like that they aren't segregating, but they 100% are. And they create the energy behind the place. They do all that. They drop in drug dealers. They drop in alcohol, they drop in, you know, drugs, and they put all of that stuff, you know, because they, again, do, like, because something is there, that's your choice. You get to make a choice. That's free will. When an opportunity arises, what do? Do you do the right thing, or do you do something sneaky behind someone's back? That's what you are here to, facing yourself. That is your shadow. So, anyway, so I'm laying out there, and I was talking to him about, so that guy, he was in Oakland. And so he was, he said he was walking. He said this is when he started noticing that they were talking to him, is he would be walking, and then all of a sudden they'd say, hey, go this way. And so he would be like, okay, well, that's weird. It's kind of a spooky way to go. but, you know, it's longer and seems more dangerous, but okay, I'll listen. And, you know, he went. And then on the path that he normally went, he heard gunshots. And that's when he started being like, oh, so that's interesting. Was I going to get in the middle of a gun battle if I went that way? And they're telling me go this way, because that's what they do. I keep trying to get that across to people. Like they are watching from above. They're seeing us from above. They can see, just like in a lot of his movies, Shamalama or whatever his name is, M. Night, a lot of his movies, he does that perspective. Like, I think he's trying to get us to understand the observing perspective. So we have observers, you know, our higher self is observing us. It's watching itself. It's watching itself interact. It's watching itself learn. It's understanding more about itself as it watches itself. So they're up there watching, and they're telling us, like, do this, do that, don't do that, go that way. But a lot of people don't listen. And when they do listen, a lot of people go into ego and think that they're better, you know, like they've got some super connection or something. And but it's a connection that's available to us all. And those of us who have an awareness of it are just, well, some of us, I think, are trying to spread the word of how to do it. Others like that ego, like, I'm better than you. I can do this and you can't. Ah, la, 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 la. You know what I mean? They just get really into themselves, and that's what they're going to have to face is more. It's not like you can get all into yourself and think like you're superior and that's going to be okay. No, when the big flip happens, when everything goes right side up, you're going to face your shadow. Your shadow will come out. Ooh, your shadow will come out to greet you. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, work on your work, work on your work, work on your work. Because when your shadow comes and you see the part of yourself that you are in denial of, it's hard. You know, and if you've got all this other shit that you're trying to unbag or unpackage or, you know, take out of the suitcases, and you're trying to work on that, and suddenly, you know, your shadow's standing there, it's a lot. So that's why it is super important to be working on yourself this whole time, not just, you know, oh yeah, I'll just do whatever. And then when shit goes down, we're all going to be faced with our shadow. However, that's when you will know how much of your healing you've really conquered, because you're going to have to face yourself. And there's a lot of people who think they're doing things that are in the right direction or something, but really they're really caught up in ego. And so that guy, the one who was talking to his guides and him explaining, you know, because he went further into it, trying to explain how the guides work, and they'll tell you, and you know what to do, you just got to listen. And but he was also saying about the people. There's quite a few people who keep saying, you know, about these people who are in their ego, like they start getting better and they just get all ego. But all of that comes up so that you can face it. Like I have to talk to it. I have to have conversations all the time to keep myself in balance. You know, it's not just like you just go into balance and you just stay there. It's a constant thing to have to keep yourself balanced. Like it's a true path to enlightenment. It is a true way to walk, you know. It's the way to carry yourself. It's the way to go. So it isn't like you get to a certain place and oh, it's all fixed. I don't have to do a damn thing now. I'm all fixed. It's not like that. You have to always be willing to look at yourself and see your true self, you know, see your ego, see what's going on with it. Try and understand, like, you know, what's going on? Why you keep showing yourself like this? What do you need? What do you need from me? What are you trying to get from other people? You know, it's about questioning yourself and trying to understand yourself. So anyways, there is people out there who are also, trying to help people explain it. But then you have the people who think they're better than everybody, and everybody needs to listen to their guidance. No, you don't need to listen to anybody else's guidance. You can go in and listen and hear what other people are saying, what their guides are saying, because I'm about to share something mine said. And it's always useful, but you don't live your life by what somebody else says, because you have your own guidance and they are trying to keep you on your own path. But people are so caught up in trying to be pleasing to other people that they want to participate in everybody else's stuff. It's like you gotta let go and focus on you, focus on your stuff, focus on your path, focus on your information. So many people use other people's stuff as a distraction so that they don't have to work on themselves. But it's something that people haven't recognized about themselves yet. But all of this stuff is going to be coming. I think all of the stuff that I keep talking about with healing and all of that is going to be coming to the surface. It's going to be most people's goal soon, I believe, is to become their best version of themselves, to work on themselves, and to become the person they want to be instead of the person that they feel that they had become from the events in their lives. Like events happen in their lives that they feel created who they are. But really it's a surrender, it's a victimization of self when you just go into, this is who I am, this is what happened to me, this is who I am. Because the things that happen to you are your opportunity to grow over them, to go past them. They're obstacles in life to help you grow. And this is, so when I was laying out there and I was talking to him about something going on in my personal life, I think, and I was like, just show me what it is, because sometimes I'll ask them, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, why this? Why that? And do that kind of stuff. And I said, well, just show me what is going to happen. Just show me in pictures. And then they said that they can't do that. And I was like, but why can't you? If you can see everything and you can show me what you see. And they said, we can't do that, because if you do that and we were to show you what was going to happen, and this is just an example, and say you saw you were going to be getting in a fight with Sue tomorrow, and you, as Kelly, don't want to get in a fight with Sue tomorrow. So you're going to do everything you can to control that, to stop it. You're going to make sure you don't do what they just showed you. So they show you what you're going to do. You see it and you go, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. But they said it has to happen that way, because the fight with Sue was going to teach you something. You were going to learn from that. So that fight had to happen because you were both going to learn and grow from that fight. So we can't show you day to day what's going to happen, because you will try and control it instead of letting things play out. And this is where we have to come to this point of trusting in destiny. And this is what I'm talking about. When you're a projection of your higher self, when you have to understand you're a higher being, you're not what they tell you that you are. Besides the fact that we're a hologram of our higher self, and not even just a hologram of our higher self, because my higher self doesn't just look like me. The only person who would see Kelly in my higher self is the people who knew me as Kelly, because I'm not just Kelly, I'm all things. So when your higher self projects you in, and so you're a hologram. Oh, and there's so much stuff now, how they've conquered, now we've got to worry about hologram people. And this person who was doing all this data, they were showing, so Hillary, I guess, is all over in the news, but every one of them is a different one. They were showing all these pictures, and they're like, go look at these pictures, people. These are all different Hillarys. There's none. They keep pulling them out, and it's a different person every day. That's part of the awakening, is the way I see it. Like, there's so many things that I think, do they really think we're this stupid? Do they really think we're not paying you? But they keep making things so absurd and so out there to wake people up. And that's why I say it gets just creepier and creepier of how absurd things have to get. And there's still people locked in. They cannot go past it. So it's very creepy because this stuff is so absurd and it's just so much in our face. And it's so disgusting. Like, some of this stuff going on is so disgusting. Like, some of these people who are out at these protests now for the RVW, and it's the same AOC, the same whatever that creature-looking devil lady is. It looks like all the devils out there just trying to get shit going in the middle of the crowd, just getting people worked up. It's like, oh my God, this is so disgusting. And people just play along. Oh, yes, my rights, my rights. They cannot take your rights. The only rights they can take are the ones that we give over. Even if they come to my house and they say, well, we're taking your house, we're taking you, we're taking your dog, and you're going with us, and you don't have rights anymore. I say, no, I'm not going. I have rights. I'm a living human being, and you don't have say over what I do. You don't have say over my life. And, you know, I don't know, is destiny how it would play out. Would this person listen, or would they just shoot me and my dog? I'm willing to go wherever it goes because I know what the purpose is, why I'm here. I know what is happening, and I understand what this is all about. And this is about claiming your sovereignty, knowing who you are, and that nobody else has a say over you. And these people keep fighting, oh, please, give me my rights, give me my rights. You have them. You're begging them to give you something that they don't own. You're giving it to them so you can ask for it back. It's all of us waking up to that understanding. That is what is going to change things. You don't give something to somebody because they're acting like it's theirs. They don't have say over us. And yeah, they can go to the point where they will kill us. In this reality, you can be killed off the stage. You can be moved off the stage. You can injure your run here in this movie. And, you know, you just walk straight out of the avatar and into another reality. There is no end of you. It's just the end of your mission in this reality. So, and so if people are like, well, I got to do what they say, that, you know, they could hurt me, they could hurt my family, they could hurt us all. I got to do what they say because they have all the power. Well, that's what you're here to learn about. You're here to learn. What is your power? Who has power over you? And how did they get it? Where did it come from? Why did they have it? That's all stuff for people to learn about and to understand, because it all comes back to self. Because everything is projected from you for your reality. It's all so you can learn about you, and so you can learn about whatever it is you're here to learn about. So many people get so focused on everybody else's problems that they don't even know what they're here to learn about. And they know what, you know, Billy Bob over there, he needs to work on this, and Grandma over there, she needs to work on this. Like, everybody can point out what other people need to do, but nobody knows what they need to do, because it's all of how they've trained our brains to work. That it is all in the retraining, reprogramming. And it all has to do with being mindful, being aware of your surroundings. If things match to your eyes and ears and your senses match your internal, what your internal is telling you, does it match? Is everything in balance? Is everything making sense? And then if you, what was I going to say? It was about the, something with the people, if they, I don't know how it just went blank. But anyways, I think you get what you're saying. Maybe I just went blank because I just start carrying on and beating a dead horse and saying it 100 times when, you know, I don't need to say it so much. Sometimes I feel like I have to just thoroughly explain things because it's so confusing, and not because people are stupid. It's just because of how we've been taught to interpret. And when we interpret things, we just, it is based on how we see things and how we perceive them. We're all coming from a wounded perspective. And so, you know, it's hard to feel like, am I making sense? Because, you know, how we understand things is so variable. So sometimes I feel like I'm like over explaining, and sometimes I feel like, did I even explain anything? I'm not even really sure. But anyways, you know, all these people who are playing these games and doing this stuff, they're all going to have to face themselves. And, you know, these politicians, I mean, most of them are going to end up at the end of a rope. Like, this is all just part of the show, just to show how really disgusting they are. They're trying to cause civil disarray, or whatever the word would be. They're civil unrest. They're promoting it. They're creating it. You know, especially at a time when there's so much division, there's so much hate, there's so much crime, there's so much problems happening in every community, and they're out there promoting that. You know, and then the people who are playing along are playing like, oh, we think we have our leaders here, or they're on our side, we're for the right side. I heard this woman, she was on her fucking rant, and you know, she starts her thing, well, I've had one of those things, and if you thought I was going to make excuses to you, you're wrong. If you think this is about babies' rights, you're wrong. It's about women's rights. And, you know, she starts fucking losing her mind, and all these people are duetting it. Like, all those people are going to have to face a lot of stuff. Like, this is not, I don't know. There's so many things I see when I look at that. Like, they're all focused on this one thing. And I don't just see one thing. I see a whole bunch of things. And so, you know, everybody's going to have to face the part they play, the role they choose. And that is that, you know, a lot of people are choosing some really dark sides, like the lady who was losing her goddamn mind, who said that she didn't care about babies. She didn't care about anything but her own rights. But how is it she's losing rights? Like, is she down there trying to get one right now? Is she trying to get one and nobody will do it because she's a woman and she doesn't have any rights? Like, people don't understand how to build your own communities, how to find like-minded people. Build your own communities. If you want to have a community where it's a bunch of women out there, you know, and you guys can all figure out how to do it for each other, and you can sit there and do it for each other, and how's the government going to know shit? You know, you can run around having sex with people and then run back there and rip it out of you. Like, don't take any responsibility for yourself. You know, just keep ripping them out. You know, maybe you can even start your own little baby factory and start selling them to the people who are making money off of them. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about money, and it's all about greed. And, you know, there's a lot of people who are standing up, screaming. And really, you're trying, oh, that woman, yeah, what she said was to us people. We're about to find out we're on the wrong side of things. You people who think it's, you know, who are trying to take the rights against women and make it about babies, we're on the wrong side of things. And we'll see how this plays out. We'll see.